Nation. West Coaster here once again, here to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Oakland Raiders. So the Bills, last week, they tore up the Kansas City Chiefs and just curb stomped them in their own house. That was ridiculous, whatever they were doing. I mean, those of you who had like survival pick 'em and you picked the Chiefs, I mean, that had to have been the most embarrassing survival pick ever or something, because Buffalo was playing angry. They kicked ass that game. But now going on to this game, there's going to be some interesting tests for the Raiders. First thing, of course, is the penalties. We'll see how disciplined we are. I think the Raiders know that they have to address this penalty issue because it was very disturbing how we would commit some personal fouls and unsportsmanlike conducts late in the game. And, you know, the Raiders lost their cool. I get it. I know what it's like to play for a team, and I know what it's like to be angry, but they gotta keep their cool. Going on also will be the offensive line. We'll see how, you know, the pass protection did very well against Elvis Dumervil and Von Miller. I thought that because Dumervil was back, I thought that they were going to really be a force on Campbell, but the pass protection did its job. And I'll admit I have to eat some crow on our own offensive line. Jared Veldheer could be our franchise left tackle we've been looking for. Now, the offensive line did have some holding penalties and some false starts. I think Hire had 2 consecutively, but that's what happens when there's inexperience. I understand that. There's going to be still some struggling there. What do the Bills have on their defensive line? They got a guy named Marcel Darius. He was the number 3 pick overall in the draft. Some experts had him as the best player available this draft, unlike Cam Newton and Von Miller. Some believed he was the best. We'll find out very soon when we play and see how this Darius guy does. Some of the other guys they got, of course, on defense, Sean Merriman and Kirk Morrison, 2 linebackers we know very well. Of course, the former was a guy who had his breakout game against us, and of course, when Merriman was owning, it sucked, but we'll see what he does at Buffalo. I know he's been lucky to get a job because the Chargers dumped him, and of course, Kirk Morrison is now a journeyman at this point. I know Jacksonville dumped him, so no one knows the Raiders better on Buffalo than Kirk Morrison. So that'll be interesting as well. Buffalo's secondary supposedly was ranked one of the best last season, and the only reason for that is because teams did not need to pass on Buffalo. All you had to do was run the ball and you win, pretty much, because Buffalo had the worst run defense in the nation last year, or one of the worst. Well, their pass defense was top, but if you don't need to pass the ball, why do it? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You just run the ball on them and you win. So the running game, we'll see how improved their run defense is, because the Raiders run in attack. We all know what they're capable of doing. McFadden should be healthy by the time they're out, and of course Michael Bush, the bruiser, should be in as well. So the running game should be very effective. As it comes to the passing, of course the pass protection will be tested. We'll find out, you know, Darius Heyward-Bey actually had a good game on Monday night. He had 2 big catches for 3rd down. One was actually near the end of the game, and when he was thrown to, he did make the catches. It was unfortunate one of them was out of bounds, and one of them was because Denver called a timeout. He would have had a touchdown, but oh well. But Heyward-Bey so far has been showing his improvement and showing a lot of promise. He may never, as I said before, he may never be a Pro Bowler, but it'll be tested. I think he's, once again, going to be one of the top receivers for this game. I'm not sure if Louis Murphy's back or not. Jacoby Ford is reported to be hurt. So we'll see what happens receiving-wise. There will be some tests. The big news is Kevin Boss will be back, so now we have a tight end weapon to throw to. We'll see if Denarius Moore gets playing time. I'd like to see him in the field. Of course, I want to see Louis Murphy back and Chaz Jones back and being healthy, but I'm not sure so much about that. The other things we got to watch out for in Buffalo would be C.J. Spiller, a guy that can return the ball. Him and Jacoby Ford, for those of you who don't know, were basically the tag team duo when it comes to kick returning. Punt returning, they were just really good in the open field, and they have speed as well with Spiller. So we got to watch out there. Not exactly the greatest every down back. That's why they have Fred Jackson there as their all-purpose back. Now, the other guy, of course, the secondary will be tested against Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't exactly know the receivers too well. I just know familiar with Steve Johnson because he had a solid rookie season for them a year ago. If he caught the ball, they would have beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers. Fitzpatrick proved to be a serviceable quarterback for them. Buffalo has had a lot of holes over the years. Too many holes: offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, just so on. But the quarterback was not their biggest weakness, and Fitzpatrick has proven that he's able to get the job done if called upon. So, the secondary should be tested this time. I don't want to see this soft coverage. If it comes to a late drive or something and it's crunch time, we might not have. It could be very, very nerve-wracking if we see the soft vanilla coverage, because Fitzpatrick looks like he's throwing like he's not scared at all. He's willing to take the risks, and our secondary is going to need to play up and play tough, because we'll find out with Buffalo. The last time we played them, we lost on a late field goal one. I think it was a last 2-minute drill drive, which of course sucked. Other thing else to say though, the Raiders just got to work on the penalties. As I said before, the offensive line will need to protect Campbell, and if the defensive line plays the way they did last week, there's no reason for us to not win this game. Buffalo, we just don't want to underestimate them. But we got to make sure we play the A game, because Buffalo, they were playing pretty mad last week, as I said before, and the way they owned the Chiefs, that stuff is not a fluke. I'll tell you that. They definitely were playing angry, and Chan Gailey had them fired up. So, what are your thoughts on this game? Let me know down in the comments below what you all think about it. Until next time, though, after the game, we'll see you guys later, and go Raiders as always. See y'all later.